5 plus SBA EIDL Loan Alternatives for 2023 and beyond. How to get 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, up to 150, if not 250,000, without any documents, no collateral, up to 50,000 with no docs, and much more. Hi, my name is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm a business loan broker expert who's been able to help out a lot of businesses get the right type of financing under the right strategic partnership and the right roadmap, not only for short, but longer term. I've helped out a lot of businesses from going the wrong direction, trying to get the wrong organization or organizations, lender or lenders, wrong team of people. In fact, I get a lot of people who come back to me or first time and ask me to verify who they're going through or are not going to trust and be reliable with someone else. So I am there to help you, support you, more than just on a business level, on a personal, on a human level. And I'm an introvert, just so you know. It's hard for me to open up and let somebody else come into my world, let alone trust them and rely on someone. So I can understand if you're in that position. I don't sell you anything. So I'm not one of those salespeople trying to get you into the wrong type of vehicle, the right type of funding that just isn't really the right one for you. It could be right at the time, but there's an actual better one to go into, and that's what I mean by that. So I'm going to be getting into those 5 plus alternatives at this time of the year. And I want to make sure you guys know about them before making that decision and thinking, yeah, that's the right one, quote unquote, when in fact it isn't. But let me go to the comments really quickly. I do see somebody saying here, new business with no PG. Welcome in. Hey, welcome back. And I know there's familiar faces in here, and I'll go back to the comments in a moment. I'll answer this first, and then I'll get into those 5. So please hang in there with me. We are streaming on TikTok as we speak, and it'll probably be as a replay on the YouTube channel. But new business with no personal guarantee, it's really based upon your credit history and your strength of credit. So if you don't have enough strength in credit, you can forget about the no PG. Sure, there are a few services, but more on the business credit card side. It'll still be hard to get approved for if you don't have the length of history and the relationship with them. What most business owners want are no personal guarantees, and there are many reasons I'm not going to get into. But when you're getting started, you of course a lot of the times have to put up a personal guarantee. You're held liable and accountable and responsible. You have something on your credit, maybe you don't want it showing up and you don't want to be liable. You just took out another mortgage or something else is happening. Regardless of what it is, you have to start somewhere and then get your foot in the door and then grow with them. And in time, they can give you more. So not always will everybody be able to start off with the no PG corporate credit cards, etc., or types of loans. It just doesn't always exist for that business owner. So back to the topic. So one of those options that I recommend, I like to call it a hybrid cash advance or a hybrid advance / term loan intermix. And before I go any further, in the description down below, as well as in the bio, there will be a questionnaire form. Click on that, fill it out. I will then evaluate it, analyze it, and give you a proper response back via email on your best funding option and options, thoroughly broken down like nobody's business from the top to the bottom. The intro, the meat and the potatoes of those different services, all of the description you need to know, even ballpark numbers if necessary, because I can pre-underwrite files. I know what the underwriters, I know what the lenders want. I do. And if I see a file, even without the bank statements, any of that asked for initially, that does change some things. But what I can see, I understand. And so I'll be able to show it to you back via email, and then we can go from there. So my processes are a bit different, and they're actually very efficient. But again, that will be down below. There will be some details about why I do it that way or what the actual process entails. Maybe on the thank you page, you'll see a video, if so, breaking down the process and why I do it that way. So make sure you get that filled out if you haven't. Number 1, like I said, the hybrid cash advance / term loan intermix. And this is basically a derivative of a traditional merchant cash advance where you are returning on your future receivables. So you are paying back with the portion of your sales that you generate in your business, you're giving back to the lender, the merchant, and that's in a traditional merchant cash advance. Those you normally see a daily or a weekly repayment. Usually bi-weekly and monthly don't exist. You'd have to have superior details, superior credit, not just the minimum of like a 700, 720. In this market, not even 750. You have to be high 800s, and your revenue has to be generating well over six figures, like more 500,000 and above, with a long, extensive history and then time in business. But even then, it's not a guarantee because of the industry, because of the market. It's too high of a risk to give you such a high monthly repayment. And what you have to understand, those are traditional. Now, there's a hybrid advance that can be generally 50% less expensive and least expensive when you're taking out a longer term duration. And longer terms, you can see 1 to 5 years, but in this market, getting past 1 to 2 years is very difficult. So for those of you looking for those term loans past 2 years, it can work up to 36 months. Unless you had collateral or you go through the SBA 7A loan /504, then you can expect somewhere between 3 to 10 years, up to 10 years working capital amortization or for payroll, refinancing, debt consolidation, expansion, growth, whatever those needs are. And then it can be up to 25 years with real estate included and a few other things if it makes sense. So just know that in this market, you normally see those faster / intermediate term loans between 3 to 24 months. Unless you go beyond that to 36 months with one of those, it'll be very likely like that you needed that time, that you qualified for it, the revenue, the amount we're giving you to get that time, and you couldn't qualify for maybe an SBA loan. The circumstances line up that way. You couldn't get a line of credit, but we could get you this huge lump sum, or it wouldn't make sense to get you a line of credit, so we added more there. See how that makes sense? There's different scenarios. So there's the derivative, the traditional merchant cash advance that I don't want to go too in detail about the definition on, but I'll leave more content in the description down below for you guys to learn. And so the derivative of that is a hybrid cash advance / term loan intermix between 3 to 24 or 4 to 24 months. And once you get to the 1 to 24 months, we're talking about a non-APR product. It's not a traditional business loan, so we don't amortize it that way, and it's not usually based on interest rates, but a factor rate. I don't want to lose you guys, but factor rates are between 1.19 to 1.7 or 1.5, and that's just kind of like saying, hey, if we gave you 50,000, what's the multiple of 1.23 on that 50,000? That's what would be your repayment. That's principal plus interest accounted for. And so that's what you're paying back. Now, what the term is, that's a determination of what we look at. It could be based on credit and a few other factors that we'll look at more extensively. So that's a traditional merchant cash advance, is the one I spoke about earlier, the hybrid advance / term loan intermix. You can see that, and that's what you get to see a lot of in this market. It's not always a traditional MCA that's based off of just your credit card statements, but based off of total revenue. This is total revenue in your business, guys. This isn't looking at credit solely. This isn't looking at just collateral. So we just spoke about the first C of fundability, which is cash flow. There's credit and then there's collateral. You either have one of the three, two, or all three. And you look at it from that point of view, and I can work with you on what's the best solution for you. And so cash flow wise, we can see you do, let's say, for example, $100,000 a month, and it's consistently and on your lowest month. So we can get you between 75 to 200% of that. You may have had a low month in your last 3 months where you said you did 60,000. It's even better if it's your very last month and the current one you're going up and your trajectory is going up, excuse me. But let's say you did 60,000 on your lowest month, and then you have 100,000 month on average of those last 3 months or so, then we could try to get you between 75% of that 60,000, between that amount to up about 100,000 at most, at least that part initially. And if you were looking for more, you have to work your way in. So this is revenue based. Looked at the performance of your bank statements on the revenue of total revenue coming in your business, cash flow, any kind of what kind of deposits, transfers, electronic transfers, wire transfers, cash, checks, anything else that we see going into that business checking account. You can use a personal checking account, but you're going to get a lot less. So have a business checking account, guys. So that's one part of the equation. You have a lot of other type, not necessarily all revenue based, but you have lines of credit that are a little bit more credit intensive and harder to get these days, honestly. But credit based on the line of credit, they can have minimum month-to-month revenue requirements, but it has to be more consistent, and you have to deposit more per month. Having the minimum of a revenue-based at least three times, and it depends on the lender. So revenue-based, they might look at it as just 3 deposits per month, 5 to 7 or so, with certain lenders. But with the lines of credit, they're looking at a minimum of 5, 7 sometimes. And if you don't deposit at least 5 to 7 times per month, and it's infrequent from month to month, they won't lend you a line of credit a lot of the times. Even if you have a minimum of revenue, it's just you're depositing one big time. And if your business isn't set up to take a revenue-based financing option, and again, I'm going to point you in the right direction. I got you. I'll take care of you. Don't worry. This is my expertise. I don't pressure anybody. I don't push anybody. But like I said the other day to a business owner who they got declined for getting a personal line. They really wanted a line of credit. They weren't going to get a business line of credit, period. Depositing frequency, one, their credit, what they have on their credits, and a few other things. And so having chargebacks and needing to get those removed is first priority, number one. And so once all this stuff gets disputed and taken care of right away, it reflects, then we can wait probably a period of a month, maybe 2 months, sometimes 3, depending on the provider. And then we come back and we can reapply. But now that their credit isn't shot, it's much better, it looks cleaner, then they can potentially qualify for that business line of credit as long as the revenue and the time of business and the credit requirements are met. And they have the strong credit history, the profile, the trade lines, not always new trade lines, but longer produced trade lines, stronger history. And you want to have a multiple. I'm not going to get into each one of them right now. But that's on the credit side, see? So that's another service you can get into, another SBA EIDL loan alternative. Now, do you qualify is the question? I can help provide that to you. And you want to fill out the questionnaire down below for me to understand it better. And I will be able to reply back to that email and you'll get it. So credit-based, that's one program. There are a few other ones we can call it. We can call it the personal loan, the startup loan. We can call it the personal line of credit, the installment loan, the term loans, the credit cards, personal credit cards. We can even get into business credit cards, which you guys should be separating from personal credit. Get into the business credit realm even more. I could get into even Navy Federal if you have some kind of connection, but that's not something I want to entirely get into. Although you can get up to 50,000 sometimes with no docs and a few things. But the problem with Navy Federal is not everybody can get in, one, and then two, being able to get a soft pull as opposed to a hard pull once you put your application in, and a few things. So don't always rely on that. You want to always get the best as well, and then always the best relationship, because you might be one of many, although they're helping you. And when you're going to somebody more premium, then you have that foot in the door to have more flexibility. That's why I recommend, if you have that and if you don't mind it sometimes not reporting to personal and business credit bureaus on what you're doing, then okay, there's an advantage there in what you are trying to accomplish. So there's credit-based programs. I can go on and on. There's the credit line hybrid where you can get 0% interest for 6 to 18 months with at least a 680 on all 3 consumer credit bureaus. And we can liquidate. And this we can do even with a less of a score, and you have to meet certain eligibility requirements as well with these 0% interest credit cards where you can pull the cash out of and you basically liquidate it out of them. And I've done this myself. You liquidate the cash out of them, and then you can use them for any investment you choose. So I've been able to use these things for like business marketing and advertising. I had to do it for some inventory back in the day when I was in a specific model. I had to do it for quite a few things. And so when I started growing those businesses, I really understood that I didn't have to take out a loan always, but I could rely on my business credit card, and my usage rate on the business side didn't really matter as much as it did on the personal side. Really, you can just use it as much as you needed to. Making sure you are taking care of it though, don't want to miss things. So be held accountable and responsible for what you do. And then you can request another limit perhaps in like 6 months. Every issuer is different, but 6 months is a good cushion. Sometimes 3 months has worked. I've seen that a lot with builder credit cards at the very bottom. But every single entity has a different structure. So credit-based is one way. There are more examples I can give you guys, but lines of credit on the business line of credit, the personal lines of credit, credit cards, personal business credit cards, installment loans / term loans, and a few things in there. There's more things that I can go into even heavier on that side. But number 3, let's talk about collateral, and then we'll name a few of the other ones. So with collateral, you don't necessarily have to always provide the month-to-month bank statements, or more so the credit. It's not so much of a factor because you're collateralizing the loan. You're securing it with assets if you were to default or anything were to happen. Repossession of this, like you guys probably have thought about with cars and vehicles. But you can offer up different types of things like equipment. Heavy machinery is better regarded. I wouldn't say offering up titles in different trucks, excuse me. I think a lot of people in this industry, and they come back to me all the time and go, hey, I have 3, 4, 5 trucks. I have the titles. I own them completely. Can I give those up? And you have to understand that in this market, it's hard to resell, and they're looking at liquidation value out of this, and they're giving you based off of that and auction value. But just be very cautious about getting into that. And it doesn't always work because of the market and the vehicle they're accepting of. We could do some things with the sales leaseback. Yeah, there's some situations there, some stipulations. You also, I can go even deeper into this, but you have real estate. Sometimes it depends on the lender, but they may want commercial real estate, not always residential. They're not going to be looking at always an apartment complex to collect, a fix and flip, and multifamily. You got to be careful into that space. So there's commercial real estate financing, but you have to meet sometimes a minimum in revenue requirements for some of these services. Sometimes they'll tell you we want to have at least $1 million in annual sales because we want to know you're generating the revenue, and we also want to know you have enough equitable collateral or what we need to pull away from to service the debt and what a liquidation value is for certain things. And so if you don't have enough to cover yourself, what do we expect? You're going to end up not being able to repay it. Things go bad on your part. And so collateral is there. You have account receivables on top of commercial real estate, equipment. You have and or developable land. We can do that too. That's something that I've been getting into a lot. I have friends who are in the land space too. And so what I recommend, it just depends on what you have available and what you want to give up. The best and most attractive part of collateral that I like, I love this option, is account receivables. So any unpaid invoices, you get paid on terms, 30, 60, 90-day terms, 120, whatever it is, and you have yet to collect that money from your clients, your clientele, you have multiple, and you need to bridge the gap for funding to recover or expenses or whatever it is you're trying to grow and expand, but you haven't received the money, you don't have the cash flow you need to do it. So what you could do is give these to an invoice factoring company, and then in return, you get the funding you need. We can advance up to 85% a lot of the time in this market, 90, 95%, but you see a lot of 85 to 90% right now. And it's very common with the industry and with the market. So there's that option available on the table. There's inventory financing if you guys are looking for offering up collateral, making sure that that inventory is actually collectible, because a lender is not just taking any kind of collateral if they can't resell it. If they can't find the value in it, if there's no market, the market's just too small to resell this and to do anything with it. They won't want to take it. So there are more things with collateral I can get into. There's quite a bit. We just touched upon a few options. We looked at the business cash advance. More so, it's not a loan technically because it's based on future receivables. The hybrid advance, the term loan intermix. You can see a term loan, usually not APR, sometimes APR, a lot more if it's through a bank. And so when you come into the private space, don't always expect to get that APR type of product. There's equipment loans, of course, and there's some of them that do work that way. You have the line of credit. You do have, like I just said, the equipment loan. We could do the equipment financing, leasing to own. There's those scenarios. So those are about 4 to 5 right there already. And on top of that, I already said the personal loans. I gave you more than 5 actually. Personal loans, those credit line hybrids. So we're probably already at 10 there. But that would be the gist of it. Now, SBA loans. So there is a term loan 1 to 5 years, but it's difficult to get past 2 years, as I mentioned. So the SBA loan, as I said earlier, you can get up to 10 years, up to 25 years amortized. So if that seems attractive and you can qualify for it, that is an option on the table. And so that is there. And there's quite a bit more that I can touch upon. There are sub-segments of each and every one of these, and there are more solutions. But these are the most popular out there, especially when you're going through a private lender, a private sector. And we can get creative. We can even talk about real estate financing if you're looking for real estate, commercial real estate through the SBA 7A land or developable land 504/7A. We can work an intermix. We can look at those things. Any type of traditional real estate financing, I'll get to you guys in a second. Excuse me. There it is again. I had one of those bagel, I said it the other day, I had one of those bagel sandwiches. Like I had half of one. Man, those are deadly. The cheddar jalapeno ones, stay away from them. And I have, luckily, today's Wednesday and I normally go on a jog, so I'll be doing that probably in about an hour. So I'll be well, taking care of my health. And those are delicious. Those are my favorite, with egg, ham, and then the Philadelphia cheese. You put some hot sauce on it, maybe some ketchup. Man, is it delicious. Anyways, like one of my favorite things there. But it's just a lot. You can feel saturation in my body. And so, which isn't bad, no offense or nothing like that. It's not what I mean. So I'll get to the comment in a second. There's the SBA loans. There's those processes. There's different types of variety. And I'm going to leave more of these options in the description. You can view them individually. But ultimately what I recommend you do, if you haven't, is fill out the questionnaire. And if you haven't filled that out, I will get back to you. And those of you who I haven't, I will. It's just I get flooded. Literally I do. And that's what you want. You want somebody who does get flooded, because that shows that it works. That shows that that person is going to go the extra miles, and I do. You show that with me, I'm going to give it back to you full throttle. Like today, I was on a phone call with an individual who all he wanted was 10 minutes of my time, and I was just so busy, I couldn't give it to them. I had to speak to them in a different way, and I couldn't get the communication out that way as soon as I wanted to and could have. But I gave them more than 10 minutes of my time, and it made sense to in the conversation we were going on, and I could have cut it up short. But I helped them understand, how to get their credit repaired and what they need to get removed. What would be the next step? Probably doing a credit line hybrid. After that step, then they wanted something else. So I'm there for you guys. I'm full in on it. I can share with you guys things that you guys don't always get by just viewing somebody else's content or going through a blog post, etc. Now let me go to the comments. I will not talk about my gross income per year. That's not something that I do, Armando. Not because I don't want to tell you guys, because I'm not doing good. I'm doing well. And I actually have multiple businesses, so I don't want to say myself in front of everybody here and even say my own takeaway from business, my personal income. I'm not going to get into all that right now. But yeah, it's not because I'm being sensitive about it. It's just, why would I want to get into that topic? Just know that I'm doing well. I can give you 6-figure, 7-figure number, but I'm not going to get into that. I just don't want to get into my things about that. And I'm not hiding anything, just so you guys know. Right. Yeah, you said it well, King. I know what you're getting at. I've been there. I've seen that. And let me say this out loud. You might not be in here anymore, but can't resell that equipment because Congress wants electric trucks. Yeah, with the direction we were moving in now. So that's a big point. And I can get even deeper into what Congress is looking for on top of that. Oh, you are? Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to get into the whole political. I don't like doing that on this. Just recently, there's been some some law changes and stuff, but I don't want to bore you guys with all that. And it's more so stuff on the broker side. Like on my side, I had to look through a lot of documents. I still am looking at it what? There's some stuff in there that can be confusing, maybe even misleading. But yeah, on the electric trucks enrolled within 4 years, MSRP drop in value. Yeah, I get all that. I know what you're getting at. But yeah, I'm happy you brought that up. And it is also somebody that can learn from the material. And like you brought up, it's more specific. So these are topics that I do go on. I go even deeper in. But for this video, we're focusing on the different types of SBA EIDL loans. I can even get deeper into each and every one of them. You guys know that. I can literally go on and give you guys examples about every little one of these. But until you guys fill out that questionnaire form, then I will be able to show you. What I show you in that questionnaire form is beyond insane. You might think I'm insane by giving you that. But I'm an intro. Sorry, probably paused because of low battery. But think about it like this. I was just on a call with somebody, and he goes, you and my wife would relate so well because she's an introvert like you are. She understands landing pages. She understands all of that. And I go, yeah, we might be the same person. And it's because we're very, I don't want to use the word cerebral or how we go about doing things. That's not the answer. It's just, I guess we're more meticulous and not technology like savvy we have to be, but we've gotten accustomed to using those systems. And what you adapt to when you're in a certain business model, that'll help you. And so it was kind of enlightening for me to hear that from him. I was just waiting for him to say that, and he finally did. And I appreciate him for what he said. And I'm going to be helping him and his wife out. And actually, I'm going to be helping her as well with the. Somebody called and just ended it. I wasn't going to pick that up anyways, unknown number. But yeah, I'm going to be helping her out with another business model she was trying to get into. I've been in that business for quite some time now, and she wants guidance, not somebody who's going to just send her something and tell her to do it this way and it doesn't end up working for her. But I will say this, in any kind of business and endeavor you guys have, you want to put your 2 feet in. Go into the deep end. Start on the shallow end. You know how we were kids. We're getting in there with our little floaties on our arms. We have the little, what do you call that? Man, I used to use that thing when I was a little kid, just to like float, a little baby, a little kid. And then we would start naturally graduating into like sitting on one of those floaties and then not even needing it, going into the deep end, diving, doing backflips, hurting our back. At one point, and this was at my uncle and aunt's house and with my cousins, we used to do this as kids, probably you guys can relate, but we used to just jump in there from the top, dive in. And there's one day where everybody was like, just do it. And I go, I don't want to jump in with my belly. And not because of peer pressure or anything, but I finally committed to it. I'm like, all right. So I just jumped in there and it hurt so bad. When I got out of the water, the whole stomach was all red. And so I don't know where I went on this, but I got off on a tangent. It's just you got to start somewhere and then develop. And why should you go through me? Let me go through this first and I'll go to the comments. Well, I don't overpromise and underdeliver. I don't get somebody something that doesn't make sense, that they think is right, but is it really? Is it right for them? Not a lot of time. I get a lot of emails of people coming to me for that reassurance, and I say, no, we can do better. Honestly, we can. We usually beat people on everything, and because of the personal and business relationships, that's another component. Because of my personal and business relationships, that goes a longer ways than it would be with somebody else. Yeah. Well, it goes a longer ways. So that's what you get connected with somebody who will actually handle the docs that I need to handle, and then be able to then share them with the right underwriters and the right lenders and be able to say, hey, this is what we have. We come together now. We discuss these things. They go do their full underwriting component. They come back to me. I get feedback. So you'll get communication at every stage. I got you. Don't worry about that. Let me do that part. What I do on my back end, I go to work for you. So there's a lot. Maximum funding, better terms, better rates, availability, for sure, feedback, open-mindedness, and I'm patient with people. Now, being respectful is something I would like to have. Please be that way. Don't be shady. Don't be just this cocky, arrogant, stubborn person who just gets in the way and is creating toxic ecosystems, because it's not always one, around me and my team. So if I invite you in, this is like, treat it like it's an exclusive way to get into a party that you never thought you could get in. So you go to the ball and you're like, man, this is a nice place. And you see so many people that you're like, they're way beyond me. And so you'll likely see me. I'll come in the door, shake your hand, welcome you in, come on in. And are you hungry? Would you like to have a drink? Just go ahead and relax, and then we'll get things underway. And so I'm there to take care of you guys, not as a quote-unquote chauffeur, but I get hands-on in this, and I understand the right underwriters and lenders. And apart from that, my story, and there's more I can get into why with me on that side, on the business side, I can go on and on. But just know that I've been there, 9 to 5. I know how hard it is to just get a business started, get the idea of your business or an iteration of what you've already seen in the market, but do it for yourself. I get it. I didn't make money my first year. Literally, I didn't make money my first year for about 11 or so months. And it was it felt like the most depressing 11 months of my life ever. And this was in between. I had a 9 to 5. I had to look for another way. I got in contact with a friend of mine who was in the trucking business at the time. I was literally having lunch. He sends me a message on the Snapchat social media app. I open it. His name is Tyson, by the way, not just some figmented person. Tyson, shout out. So Tyson then sends me a message responding back to the teriyaki meal, delicious, that I had the night before. And as we are communicating, he tells me about a way of starting your own business. And I go, okay, online? So I went into the online world. Literally that day, I took my backpack off. As I went in through the door, I bursted it. It almost felt like the whole door came loose. And it felt like the door was going to hit me from behind. That's how fast it was moving. But I put the backpack next to the stair steps in front of me. Literally, you can see a wall of stair steps going up. But I had no time to look at that. And so I just put my backpack there. And then I rushed gingerly, actually, around the corner. And then I peeled my eyes open where my laptop is sitting in the kitchen. I get close to the countertop. I pick it up with my 2 hands. I do one of these quick twists where it's like my legs are still pointing this way, but my body's over there. And about a foot away is my dining table. And I just propped the laptop right there. Opened it up, sat down. And I believe I didn't even sit down first. Yeah, I didn't sit down. I put in the passcode, and then immediately I sat down. And then that's when I started to do my research. And I got into the whole watching videos, reading blog posts, and then that took me down the route of starting my digital marketing agency, which I still have to this day. And then during that same time, I started building an affiliate marketing business in the health industry. I still have that one running, and I have other ventures now. But I have those 2 running, and then they started going for me. One started working, and then I started getting into another one. I started focusing on that one a little bit more, and then I came back to this one when I had a chance to, and then started building them kind of together. This one a little bit more, and then this one started growing, boom, boom, boom. And then I got into another sub niche within the affiliate marketing space. I did a hybrid of e-commerce with affiliate marketing at the time. Did a few other ventures, and I have another couple right now. And then eventually, I got into the business loan broker space. This is eventually what I wanted to do. And I finally got to this point, and here I am. Like, this is what I wanted to do. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't like I just snapped my fingers and then ta-da, you're respected in this space. It had to be worked on. I had to do it day in and day out with no success. But because I came from understanding that there's no such thing as instant gratification when you're doing all this. So you got to shape that. Take away the instant gratification. Take the instant gratification of getting funding and start working on the things in your business that really need to get worked on. A lot of you guys don't do that. Get into business, but really don't understand the methodology or the blueprint. You see the blueprint when you're in it, but by then it could be too late. And you may not understand it fully because you're doing everything and anything. You're like, I don't have time to view that. I got a customer here who needs my attention. And then you just try to figure it out as you go, which is fine. I've been there. But get your door in and start figuring those things out. Now let me go to the comments and I'm going to close up shop. And does anybody have any questions while I'm reading through some of these from King and a few others? What do you mean by the 3-month forms, King? As in bank statements? Yeah, right? The floating? You know what I'm talking about. With everybody. The cousins, the brothers and sisters, and you know, it was like a pool party. I'm like wondering why there was a pool party. Whose birthday was it? No, it was just everybody gathering together. Having great food. People around. I do want to mention this. I know I said I wasn't going to be on today, King, you know this. I did say I'd try to be back on tomorrow during this time, but I found some space today, and I wanted to really put this video out there, and it'll be on a replay on YouTube. So I'm going to cut it short here soon so everybody can at least watch it all the way through without bookmarking it, and I want to make sure people can see that. Good evening and good afternoon. What part of the world are you from? You're on the East Coast time? New York, North Carolina, South Carolina, maybe somewhere in Texas, although Texas 4:34 Central Time. But I have people from everywhere, and I'm at a stage now. I'll answer this first, and I'll get into that. So, keyword ASAP. You don't have to tell me. I'm not going to ask you this. You can tell me in private. But I'd like to know what you want to get fixed. Everybody has, and I had a conversation with somebody on the phone today. Is it real that you could get something negative removed in 2 to 3 days? Very, very hard to. It doesn't always work that way. Usually doesn't. You got to give it at least 30 to 60 days for these kind of things, depending on how recent the late payment and how long ago it was too. Sometimes, but it's not normally seen. It's very hard unless you catch it on early and it hasn't been fully reported, perhaps, and you didn't really need a formal credit repair, and that didn't take a lot to dispute. But you have to give the reporting agencies time. So when you're saying as soon as possible, for one, you don't have to say here, but what is it that you want to get fixed? What is it that you want to dispute, get removed? Why do you want to remove that? And why I asked that from you? And you're like, why? Because I don't want to have a bad credit report. Why? Think outside a little bit. So when I ask, why do you want to get it removed? Put yourself in my shoes. I'm asking you because I want to know, what would getting this removed do now for you? Are you looking for a loan? Are you looking for business credit cards because you can't get approved for that? You have chargebacks. You can't even get a personal line of credit, let alone a business line of credit. So when I have an idea of what you're trying to do, what your overall outcome isn't just getting that credit issue removed, but making sure that once it's removed and it's reporting accurately now, that you actually have that next step. That's pretty much what I want to look at. Sorry, I spoke quite a bit earlier, so I'm kind of one of those. So yeah, in my bio too. Are you? Yeah. So yeah, in the bio, the 3 months, everything is in there. You guys can view anything. If you guys click on the link tree, all my resources are pretty much in there. There's more. That's why I recommend filling out the questionnaire that people do. And then when it lands in my email, I will then be able to evaluate it, analyze it, and give you a proper response back via email on your best funding option and options. And I'm looking at one that was filled out 19 minutes ago, perhaps not from somebody in here, but I have different channels where people do fill it out from. And like today, I helped out a lady who is looking for a purchase of a business. And I sent her details, one of those options being the SBA 7A loan. And here's another individual needing help. Got it. Okay. So I'll have to review that one a little bit more. East to west. So yeah, the East Coast is cool. I've been to New York. New York is an amazing place. Shout out. I know there's more I have to discover out there. I have to go to the ATL. I got to go to places like that to go visit and just take a vacation. You know, I can get up and go if I wanted to, but I'm going to make sure. I'm the kind of person, guys, and I'll kind of end it here. I'm the person who like goes on vacation. You might have a laugh at this. I'm the guy who goes on the vacation and wants to be up early. I'm not that person who just sleeps in until 9 or 10. I can't do that. And it's not because I couldn't. It's just because if you're on vacation, you better make the most of it. Every single millisecond counts. So once I'm up, it could be like 11 last night. I can be up. I'm kidding. Not that early. Go to bed at 9, wake up at 11. Okay, I'm ready for the next day. It's not even tomorrow yet. But I'm going to wake up maybe 6, 7 sometimes, get my workout in. I'll go into the gym if I'm in a hotel or if I'm in somebody else's house. Maybe I'll go on a walk or a jog first. Or get my weights in or do my push-ups. Nothing heavy. And then just to kind of stimulate the mind. And then get my day moving forward a lot of the times. And then, yeah. So it's not really laughable, but that's just kind of something I like to do. And then my laptop, I try to have it on me as much as I can, so I'm there working. So I'll set aside after a workout or something. I'll come back to the room or wherever it is, if I need to be in the lobby or wherever it is, and I'm filling out a few things. I'm completing somebody's unfinished questionnaire. So, and then I go back and then I get started for the rest of my day. You'll send me a private message? Okay. Asking for funding for more equipment for your trucking business. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I can definitely help you. Just be flexible with the credit repair part. Everybody wants something done like this. and I work with the best in this industry. So I used to do some of this more or less, but I have an actual pro who does this, and I get help through him. And he's somebody you'll want to work with. Believe me, he's really good at what he does in himself and his team and what he can offer. So I'll show you more of that. When you send me an email, I will also send you back, if you haven't submitted it already, the questionnaire. So I'll have the questionnaire. Submit that back to me. I'll have two of them. I'll send you the business loan questionnaire for equipment. There's actually a traditional equipment financing form I have, but let's do the equipment. Let's do the other one. And so I'll send you two, very likely. If it's not real estate related, maybe I'll send you three. So I'll send you the business loan questionnaire for traditional business stuff or private lender stuff. I'll send you one for the credit repair. So the credit repair, just so you know, there will be an SSN field. You don't have to supply the social security number. You don't have to. I get it. But just know, with me, like, I just got a sensation running down my leg. Like, what I do for people, guys, I know you might not take my word for it, especially if, you're seeing me for the first time, but I'm a very trustworthy person. I 110% back that up. I could put a personal guarantee on that. But the thing is, you wouldn't feel always comfortable, but it's just to verify the identity, verify that there's legitimacy behind this, and then the credit side of the equation is what they look at. And there's a little bit more. But not necessarily do you have to provide the social security number. It does help for me, so then when I get that, I'll send it over to my team, who they carefully look through it, confidential. Again, it comes to me. I go to my team. I say, hey, we have this person here, and here's what they're looking for to do. But in that credit repair form, please put in the additional note section. Be descriptive on what you want to get removed. That's your spot. That's your opportunity to put in, so that I can go to my team and communicate with them. And then likely the head of the company, Steve Super, he will likely be able to contact you by phone call. Great guy. A lot of the times that's what he'll do. And there's other ways if he needs to. But he's very like you guys hear me talk, he's very calm in his conversation. Like that. So that's what you want. You don't want somebody always doing this to you. And there's a time when he will be like that. He can probably go on a little bit, but he's very, very subtle and great at communicating something that can be in depth into just truncating it and making it very simple for you. And he actually made a video review of me. I might be able to show you guys, probably put it on the channel. But he actually made a video review of myself saying good things. I'm very appreciative and humbled by that, because not because it does a lot for the business, but because it shows that I'm able to help people and I'm doing what I need to do, pretty much. So I'm very appreciative of those things. I really am. And I told him, what you did for me, I can't put it into words. And you need that as well? Yeah, I can help you. Just send me an email, guys. Follow-up email if it is. Sometimes I don't get to the questionnaires right away, just so you know. Be patient on that. I do get flooded, but you want somebody like me. Trust me. You want somebody who's going to point you in the right direction. I was on a call earlier. They said, I do trust you. I don't want to work with someone else. And it's because, not because of what I was telling them, but because what I can show. I'm a show guy. I'm not going as an action. I'm a showman on that regard. But I'm going to take action. Like today, I'm expecting documents. I was expecting documents from a certain person. They sent it to the wrong person. And they thought they sent it to me. And so we didn't have to go through all that, but because she sent it to the wrong person, then we got it sorted out. She started sending me things. Now we're back on track with an SBA loan. And so it's just have everything together to begin with. And it really does help. So I don't have to go back and forth on things, guys. It makes everything easier. It's not rocket science. Just make sure you guys have it. Does anybody else have any questions, comments, or concerns? I'm more than happy to help you guys out. That's what I'm here for, guys. I'm not getting compensated for doing this. I'm not looking at this as a number thing. I understand there's a business side of this, but for me, it's all about value. It's all about being able to make an impact. I've done things too where I help people develop into a better person. That's how much I've affected people. It goes way beyond the business funding for me, because I have that entrepreneurship side and that business owner side. So slash on the two. And so having those other businesses has really done a lot. Really has. And it's proven. I also have my A to Z Business Funding Mastery Academy course. You guys can check out. I'll leave it in the description or in the bio. I don't know how long I want to still leave that open for free. I may put $1 on it. I may put it for like 2,000. It could be that and more. Usually it could be like 5,000 and above. Realistically, what I would be charging for, 997 with even a discounted, even less. But I'm not sure I want to put a price on that now, or who knows. I'll probably put it. It's something you guys want to get into because I break it down A to Z. The foundation of who you need to become. You, your character, your reputation is aside from your character. Because that character is then going to start their application. And who that character becomes in the application process, that's up to you. And I know this because I work with business owners daily. I get to see the true side of that person. Like, they may not open up to me personally, or they may not open up enough. I'm not always asking for that. But just some connection. And I go, I could tell who I'm speaking with. I can tell who that person really is. And even without a word being said. And sometimes I won't say a cheeky question, but I'm going to ask something after you said something just to kind of balance out what you said, because it probably wasn't true or right. And so I just want you to get thinking on what you just said. And it's not to do anything bad. It's just to, hey, that's not what happened, but actually this is what I meant to say was this, or how you interpreted it was different. And sometimes it happens on my end. Hey, we're both on the same page. As long as we are, we'll accomplish anything. I got you guys. For profits, you guys need help with that. I also help with, I know how to structure a business because I work with my own businesses. I did it as a 9-to-5 employee a long time ago. God, I worked through so many industries. I worked in warehousing when I was very young. I worked in retail for a bit. I worked in manufacturing, construction. I did ramp agent work. I know, believe it or not. I did logistics. That was one of my later roles, logistics with financial. And I was also working physically in that position when I first got in, because we were doing things as a contracting company, as one of the bigger ones in the area for HP and Peace Health. And I had to move some media around, and it wasn't ideal. It was very slow, and it was better for stability because of my recent academics going to school. And so I had to take another position, and for stability reasons. But I was very underpaid, undervalued, underappreciated, and unlike some other roles, but those were also hard. And it was too much. Company got bought, went down under, and that was the period, like I said, I was starting a new business, or I was starting to go into a new venture. Does anybody have anything? I'm going to close this up in 30 seconds. This is your last chance. And I'm looking at my laptop in case you guys are wondering. That's a cool industry. Just saw somebody on that. I'll be looking at it more deep. And I go an extra mile, guys. I'll even go to your guys' Facebook page, show you guys some love. If I can find one, and if you have one. But not always. And I just like to do my research and like to get to know, who it is I'm working with. But yeah, I go an extra mile, 2 to 3. $15 more seconds before I get back to doing things. I'm gonna go take a break after this. That's my home video on my YouTube channel. I've been planning to change that because that's an old one that I had from the very beginning, from many years ago. It's a cover video. And then my blog, stuff like that. 10 more seconds. Anybody have anything? I guess I'll leave these parting thoughts. You guys know about the SBA EIDL Loan Alternatives Questionnaire. Check that out. First place to start with. Questionnaire, business funding questionnaire. We know about the credit repair form as well. We know about the real estate form somewhat. There's a couple of others, but I'll send you that. If you're emailing me, I'll get back to you, and I'll send you those forms. Please get them submitted to me so we can work on things like credit repair as soon as possible. Try to get those removed. If it's not like within a day to 2 a week, just understand these things happen. And then we can look at getting equipment financing for your trucking business. We can look at getting it for a different type of business. But be careful. People out there, like I had a guy the other day. God, it just boiled me. And I didn't get upset, like as in like I showed it. It's just in me. I was like upset because this person, we're giving them funding. They're already at the e-signature where they just have to e-sign and go through all that. And there's more parts to it, final underwriting. But they were telling me that they were getting contacted by another company. And they told me the name, and that was just so despicable because that's what happens. People will just jump on it. Like they'll come and contact you. You're like, who? I didn't hear about you. Are you associated? They even ask, are you associated with Michael? Who's Michael? So be very, very careful about what you guys let into your world. Like I can't even tell you guys enough. And I work with the best lenders and underwriters every day, and we have meetings. Until this day, they even tell me without saying anything, Michael, I get this all the time where people just don't know what they're applying to, and they don't even know where they're applying to. They're just so desperate that they need the money that they don't even take the time. Even people who are not as desperate, they're just going to go out there and apply. They heard of a company, they heard of these direct lenders or organizations. Yeah, they may be legitimate, but it doesn't mean they are best for you. I'm not going to start naming them, but you said, oh, they look good. Okay. Well, I think I can get better. So what do? You go apply for another company. Maybe you did it at the same time. Inquiry, 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 inquiry. Now you have 5 inquiries. Looks terrible. I actually have to respond back to somebody on Messenger. I didn't even give them more of my time because they were shopping around when they shouldn't have. They were told not to shop around, but they kind of went against things. And so I haven't been able to get back to them. And it's like, well, I can't always, one, be there, but then secondly, like, you did this to yourself. And even without somebody telling you, you should know that in some ways. All right, everybody. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Questionnaire, all information will be there. Bio. This will be on the replay on YouTube. We went on longer than I needed to. I wanted to cut it up at about 20 or so minutes. But hey, we did it. We transformed. Keep moving forward. You guys have a great evening. You are most welcome. Appreciate you. Thank you. And I don't take anybody or anything for granted. I'm very, very respectful of your energy and time. I hope you're the same. I'm that person who will go the extra miles too for someone, especially if it makes sense to. I don't want to throw anybody underneath the bus. I don't do that. Never have. But let's be on the same page and help one another out. I help your businesses out. You can help my businesses out. I put a portion of what I do into like donations, and so I want to be able to put it back into the business, donate, take a portion of it for myself, but I'm not like indulging myself. I'm not taking it and using it for materialistic things. I'm not like that. My brother got it to me, the smartwatch, and I told him I didn't need one. I had the Casio, the ones that, look, I even have the case though. This is not the oldest one, but this is the most recent one I was going to use for exercising in. But I'm that guy, even at the age of 30 years old. I have an old soul, and I get there's times you got to spend on some things, but I'm that person. I went on for quite a bit. I'm not a talker, contrary to popular belief, but I know this is very helpful for you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will speak to you all in the next one.